Michigan's ground game was impressive. The defense was 7 sacks. The Michigan-Nebraska game gave you just about everything. Let's talk about it. It's Locked On Big Ten Live, post-game reaction, immediate reaction, mine and yours. Let's do this.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten Live. I'm Craig Sheeman here on a Saturday. Michigan just went down to the wire and beat Nebraska on the road 30-27. Lots to talk about here. Thank you for checking us out. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and of course, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, as you join us here live on YouTube. Hit that free subscribe button if you're brand new. That way you'll never miss a single episode. We do this every day, by the way. You can share, like, and follow as well. Today's episode is brought to you by Mazda. Just like there's more to every player, more dedication, more attention to detail, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Stay tuned later in the episode for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved. Michigan, Nebraska, the rest of the Big Ten in action. We'll talk about that. Plus, we're going live again later on tonight after the Illinois-Indiana game. Join us for all that. But let's talk about what we just saw at Nebraska. The 406th straight sellout. That's the longest in FBS football as far as any streaks go for sellouts at stadiums. Just a great crowd at Nebraska. Great measuring stick game for both teams, I think, to see where they are. And, of course, the winner maybe taking that step up, trying to join that upper echelon in the Big Ten. Nebraska started out, it looked like Dylan Raiola and Dana Holgorsen, offensive coordinator, could do whatever they wanted early on. That first drive, 10 plays, 70 yards. They got down to a 4th and 2 inside the 10. They went for it. They were stopped short by about this much. At the time, I was thinking, I thought that was a mistake. And as it turns out, they lost by 3 points. I would have kicked the field goal. I know you don't want to lose momentum on a 10-play drive. I would have kicked it right there. They didn't. Michigan gets the ball back. They could not get away from their goal line. They have to punt. Remember, they had that horrible punt. It bounced backwards. So Nebraska gets their second drive at the Michigan 37-yard line. Kyle Cunningham had a chance to kick a field goal and put Nebraska on the board, and he missed a 44-yarder at that point. So already, beginning of the game, it looks like Nebraska's got the edge. 2 scoring opportunities. They got nothing. That had to deflate them just a little bit. I thought this throughout the first half. I thought at the time in the half, Nebraska was the better looking football team, but they didn't realize it. They were like playing Michigan, right? By the second half, Michigan was the better team, but first half, that was Nebraska's to be had, and they left some opportunities on the field. So Michigan wakes up at this point. Donovan McCulley gets a couple of catches. Samaj Morgan gets a catch. Then there was that play where Samaj Morgan tried to throw it on a trick play to McCulley in the end zone. He was wide open. They missed the play. So Michigan with a couple of missed opportunities there, because also on that drive, Bryce Underwood, the freshman quarterback, just overthrew Channing Goodwin off his fingertips in the end zone. So Michigan missing a couple of scoring opportunities, at least touchdowns. They settled for the field goal. The reliable Donovan Zabata kicks a 46-yarder, and near the end of the first quarter, Michigan is up 3-0. By the way, at this point, I noticed that Rod Moore was back in the lineup. First time for Michigan since the national championship game against Washington. That kid has had a long struggle getting back from the knee injury that he suffered in the offseason right after that national championship game. It's been out like 18, 19 months. It's good to see him back on the field. At that point, speaking of defensive backs, Cole Sullivan gets an interception off a Raiola pass. It was deflected at the 37-yard line. And then Bryce Underwood notices he's got man-to-man. They got a run play called. Boom, he goes 37 yards for a touchdown. Nobody near him. He just blasts through, and all of a sudden, Michigan is up 10-0 in the final seconds of the first quarter. So they're starting to heat up a little bit. Nebraska follows that with a punt early in the second quarter. Michigan has the fair catch. Then remember, Bryce Underwood was stripped on a play. He fumbled. Nebraska recovered at its own 48. Now this is their chance. Plus there's a pass interference on this drive on Michigan. And Dylan Raiola with the pass to Dane Key for 21 yards on this. They're starting to roll a little bit. Dane Key, the transfer out of Kentucky. Michigan does get a sack. They forced Nebraska to a 39-yard Kyle Cunningham field goal at this point. So now Nebraska's on the board. It's 10-3, just under 9 minutes to go on the half. So I think at this point, everybody's kind of just settled down a little bit, trying to figure this out. Michigan gets the ball back. Underwood gets sacked. Michigan has to punt. Now Nebraska's starting to feel good. They have a 20-yard punt return down to the Nebraska 37-yard line. Then Raiola finds Ja'Cory Barney. Those two hooked up a lot for on a 3rd and 4 for a 26-yard touchdown with 2 minutes to go. And all of a sudden, we have a tie game, 10-10. It was a 7-play, 63-yard drive. But right then, boom, lightning struck again. Justice Haynes for Michigan. You know, we're thinking we're going into the locker room. He goes and runs 75 yards for a touchdown. On that play, center Greg Crippen made 2 key blocks. First of all, he blocks the guy to the side, shoves him to the side, goes out, takes out the linebacker, and Haynes is gone. Remember, he's the one that had a 75-yard run against Oklahoma. So big strike play from the ground game for Michigan. And he was the first Michigan running back to start out the season with 3 100-yard games. Make it 4 now after this one. He had another one here today. So Michigan up 17-10 with under 2 minutes to go in the half. I thought Nebraska had a couple of nice completions there. Raiola then was sacked. And then weird situation at the end of the half. I mean, we thought this thing was going to be tied at 10 at the half. And then Michigan gets a big play. And then there was the Hail Mary at the end of the half. But final seconds were winding down. And it looked like Matt Rule wanted to burn enough time and then call his timeouts, burn more time, call timeouts so that Michigan wouldn't have any time left. But then it seemed like there was a disagreement between Matt Rule and Dana Holgorsen, the offensive coordinator. Are we burning clock? Are we just going to settle? Or are we going to go for it? And I'm like, what are you doing? Why didn't you call timeouts earlier? But it worked out because then they had the amazing Hail Mary by Dylan Raiola, 52 yards to Ja'Cory Barney again as the half expires. And at that point, now in retrospect, Michigan should have called the timeout when the final seconds were going, and that would have forced Nebraska, that would have forced their hand, and they would have punted. And in fact, Rick Neuheisel on CBS called it coaching malpractice. Remember, Biff Poggi is the interim head coach for Michigan because Sherrone Moore has been suspended. Anyway, amazing development there at the end of the half, and we're all tied at 17. Michigan comes out in the second half. They punt. But Nebraska fields it, and they get tackled inside the 5 at the 2. So then they have to punt from their own end zone. They got to delay a game. And then there was the next play, the next drive by Michigan where Donovan McCulley, he had a nice 25-yard catch, but his toe was on the line, so it was incomplete. It was a great effort. Didn't count. And therefore, Michigan had to settle for a Dominic Zaveda 56-yard field goal. That kid's got a leg. Only missed 1 field goal all last year. And now Michigan is up 20-17 with 7 minutes to go in the third. Nebraska gets the ball back, and Raiola he's racking up sacks here. The Michigan defense is all over him. Ernest Hausman, at this point, it's the 5th Michigan sack. Michigan gets the ball back. Jordan Marshall, not to be outdone, he breaks off a 54-yard touchdown. Two different wide receivers doing an amazing job blocking downfield. You know, the other big run I mentioned, the center. This one is the receivers downfield blocking people in the secondary. And it felt like that was a backbreaker. Not quite, because there's a lot of time left. There's 5.5 minutes to go to the third at this point, but Michigan's now up by 10, 27-17. And then Michigan made a critical mistake that Nebraska benefited from here. Nebraska was stalled out. The momentum was gone. They're down by 10. They're about to punt on a 4th and 17 near their own goal line. I mean, this thing felt like a wrap at this point. And all of a sudden, Brandon Hillman, nobody's around him. He just taunts the Nebraska sideline. Penalty, 15-yarder, automatic first down on a 4th and 17. That keeps the drive going. Raiola gets him to the red zone on the other end. He does get sacked again. On a 3rd and 14, though, he found Isaiah Hunter for a touchdown catch, we thought, in the back of the end zone, but he had stepped out, so it was an illegal touching. He wasn't pushed out. He stepped out, so it was not a touchdown. Now on the 4th down, we go into the 4th quarter. Nebraska settles for a field goal, so they missed a huge opportunity. And Michigan, who had a boneheaded mistake by taunting the Nebraska sideline, they only give up 3 instead of the 7. That was critical there too. So we move on now. It's a 7-point ball game early in the fourth. Michigan up 27-20. And now you're starting to think, right, Nebraska, 1-score games. We've been here before. That's been the Achilles heel for Scott Frost and now Matt Rule. Michigan goes 3 and out. Nebraska's at its own 27. Raiola gets sacked the 7th time. Again, the Michigan defensive line was incredible tonight. Then Michigan just starts chipping away with the ground game, which had been excellent all day. Justice Haynes, 13 yards. There was the Samaj Morgan on a 3rd and 5, the short catch, breaking a tackle, by the way. He was going to be stopped, but then he got the first down. That was a spectacular play. 3rd and 9 from the 45. A little throw to Justice Haynes for first down for 16 yards. Now Michigan's kind of just moving here. They're just getting the plays when they need it. And they're converting on 3rd downs, which they hadn't. I think they were 0 for their first 5 third down conversions this game. Now they're converted 3 third downs on this particular drive, and they're rolling. And but they do get stopped, and they have to settle for another field goal from Zavada, just a short one, 21 yards. But I think the important part here is that drive was 16 plays, 77 yards, and it chewed up 8 minutes and 46 seconds of the clock there in the fourth quarter. So Michigan's now up on this game. They've got 30-20 at this point. And it feels like they're in pretty good shape, I think. So then Nebraska, they get the ball back. They start moving the ball a little bit. I thought Brendan Hillman was going to call for targeting. It wasn't, because the receiver had turned to a runner. So that's a good break for Michigan. Otherwise, Hillman would have been suspended the first half of next week on the Ja'Cory Barney branch near the goal line. And they do end up scoring a touchdown on a throw. Raiola's 3rd touchdown pass of the day. This one to Heinrich Harburg, who was the quarterback before Raiola showed up. He moved to tight end, and it's a 3-yarder. They get it. It's 30-27. They're within 3 with a minute and a half to go. And they do the onside kick. Michigan does a great job getting it at the high point before the guy got smacked. They do get the first down. They run out the clock, victory formation, and that's it. But that was a nail-biter. 30-27. It was a great football game. Great way to start the Big Ten portion of the schedule. Michigan, I can't stress enough, 290 yards on the ground today. Justice Haynes had 149. Jordan Marshall had 80. Bryce Underwood had 61 yards. So it was a big day on the ground. And then the 7 sacks on the defensive line by Michigan. Great job by them. And another tough 1-score loss for the Huskers in a measuring stick game. I want to hear from you guys. Comments from Michigan fans. I want to hear from Nebraska fans. You got to be disappointed too. And another reminder, we're going to go live again in about 3 hours after the Illinois-Indiana game, but we have plenty to talk about here as we continue on our live edition of Locked On Big Ten. Mazda makes it move. They are fantastic. We love having them as a sponsor here with us on Locked On Big Ten Live. Mazda is moving the game forward, and it is brought to you by those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it, because these moments do more than win. They push what's possible. They remind us to go that extra yard, shift that extra gear, and keep moving the game forward. I'm just going to highlight the Michigan defense today with the 7 sacks. I thought that was impressive. That will get overlooked when everybody talks about the running game that Michigan was able to establish here today, but they kept the game moving just like Mazda does as well. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Wayfair. I shop at Wayfair, my wife and I, all the time. You know, the weather's cooling down, need some fall decorations, maybe some new furniture, kind of cozyfy things for the fall. Wayfair is the place to go. They have everything you need to set the mood for the season, whether it's comfy recliners, warm bedding, autumn decor, all that you can possibly get. I like their outdoor furniture, fire pits, all that kind of stuff. Cozyfy your space with Wayfair's curated collection of easy, affordable fall updates. From comfy recliners to cozy bedding to autumn decor, you'll find it all for way less at wayfair.com. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Thanks for checking us out here on our live edition of Locked On Big Ten. We're going to hit your comments in a moment. I got a ton of them here. Let's just recap what's going on elsewhere in the Big Ten, in addition to Michigan's 30-27 win over Nebraska today. Last night, Iowa with a 38-28 win over Rutgers. Mark Gronowski, his best passing day of the year, 186 yards. No touchdowns, but he kept the ball moving. Iowa did rush for 160 yards, but it was Caden Weegan with the opening kickoff for 100 yards, returned that for the score. And he also had a 43-yard punt return before the half. And Jackson Rexroth had an interception. Rutgers, Ethan Kaliak-Manis had 330 yards, didn't score a touchdown, had an interception, and Ian Strong with 8 catches for 151. Big problems for the Badgers. Maryland rolled into Camp Randall and destroyed them 27-10. Fire Fickle chants for Luke Fickle at Camp Randall, and the crowd was very quiet. When's the last time you seen Camp Randall quiet? The game was 20-0 at the half. Meanwhile, true freshman Malik Washington continues to impress everybody at Maryland. 2 touchdown passes to Shalik Knotts, a 62-yarder included, and he ran for a touchdown. Maryland matched its win total from last year. They're already 4-0. They've outscored their 4 opponents 130-36. Octavian Smith, Jr., 6 catches, 113 yards. Also, Jalen Husky had a 46-yard interception to set up a score. I think, I'm off the top of my head here, I think Maryland's got like 8 interceptions already this year. They had 6 sacks in this game. They blocked the field goal. They blocked the punt. Billy Edwards Jr., by the way, the former Terp, did start against his team at quarterback for Wisconsin. He had the bad knee. He gave it a go. He couldn't go after one series. And Danny O'Neill came in, and Wisconsin they're in trouble, but a lot of excitement at Maryland. Oregon handled Oregon State 41-17. Dante Moore, 305 yards passing, 4 touchdowns of 4 different receivers in this ball game. And they traded touchdowns early on, and then it was all Oregon from that point. They've got the game at the Whiteout at Penn State next week. I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to go live after that game. Purdue and Notre Dame. Purdue kind of hung around for a little while, and then Notre Dame built up a 28-13 lead because later in the first half, it was like Purdue was scoring field goals and Notre Dame was getting touchdowns. That was delayed due to inclement weather. So I have 28-13 right when we came on the air here late in the second quarter, I believe is where that one is. And Purdue had a delay last week at home against USC. Meanwhile, tonight, we have a big one as number 9 Illinois is at number 19 Indiana. 7:30 NBC starting right about now. We're going to go watch it. We're going to go live right after that one as well. The winner has an inside track of grabbing a playoff spot. The other one's got some work to do. Also, the Apple Cup, the 117th Apple Cup, is Washington takes on Washington State. That is going on in Pullman on CBS. And then the late game tonight, Michigan State is at USC, 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific. That game will be on Fox. All right, let's take a look at some of these comments from you guys. And then this is real live time post-game reaction. And then we'll take a look ahead at week 5 and what's coming up there. All right, can you believe it? We're just cruising through this season. All right, let's see what we got here. We'll start on all the comments. Thank you for everybody for checking in. Let's see. Sean says it was interesting to see Michigan cover the spread. Well, they did, right? It was a 1.5-point game as well. Booyah Man says the Ducks struggled a bit, but still go Ducks. They did in the first half. And if I remember correctly, the Oregon State game last year started out slow in the first half. It was game 3. And then Oregon took off in the second half of that game. And then Oregon was Oregon the rest of the year, going undefeated and blowing out people and winning the Big Ten. Here's another one that says Nebraska should have lost by way more. I think you can make that argument for both sides for a while because I think Nebraska left a lot of points on the field there in the first half. Yard Dad says go blue. Terrell says, I feel like I died many times watching this game. Go blue. Yeah, they never did put it away. But you know what? Michigan got better and stronger, I thought, as the game went on. This looked like Nebraska's game early, but by the end, it was Michigan asserting themselves, I thought. Also, Michigan has a lot of work to do. Glad they pulled through. Yes, John, Nebraska, we almost always almost win. These one-score games are just killing you. We won on the road. Go Blue. That is Damon checking in. Steven with a Go Blue. Too many unnecessary penalties on Michigan from Sean. Yeah, I would agree with that. Absolutely. Wine Time Sports with a, hey, what's up, Craig? What's up, Wine Time Sports? Let's see here. What else we got? John, Nebraska offensive line isn't any good. Well, the defensive line of Michigan is good, but yeah, Del Raiola was under duress most of the day. Without Michigan mistakes, it's not even close. Jack checking in. Yeah, and look, Sharon Moore's going to come back, and they got some things to work on. They're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Rule, here's somebody up here unhappy with Matt Rule. Not very happy with him. Someone explain to me what was going on at the end of the half there. He wanted to make a Hail Mary play. Dana Holgerson wanted to shut it down and run the clock. I'm not sure. There was some confusion on that as well. Kaylin checking in. Let's see. Time to run Bryce. So they started running Bryce Underwood last week to 114 yards. And here he was very effective today, but he only had one scripted run in like the first half and in the third quarter. But then they started running him late in the game and it worked. Of course, the one run they had was a touchdown, a long 37-yard touchdown in the first half as well. A lot of you more checking in. Let's see. I really hate Nebraska football, what they've become over the last 10 years. We were once a proud program. Now we get excited to beat MAC schools. That's from Thomas. So, yeah, a lot more of the same on here. I'm happy Big Blue took them down. Go Blue. A lot of that on there. And Michigan needs to get that pass defense working. Glad to see Rod Moore out there after the long battle, a year and a half trying to get back on the football field. All right, we are live. We're glad you are here with us. We're here every day, by the way, with this Big Ten podcast. All 18 teams. We're on the video on YouTube. We also have audio wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, whatever you prefer. We're there every day. And then on weekends, we go live. Today, we're going to go live twice. We're live now. We'll do a live post-game right after the Illinois-Indiana game as well. We'll take a quick peek at what's coming up next week as well, right here, as we continue on a live edition of Locked On Big Ten. Let me tell you, a lot of businesses run on Square, and this episode is brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots do run on Square. There are certain businesses that truly make your local neighborhood feel like home, whether it's the local sports bar packed on game days, the coffee shop that knows your order right as soon as you walk in the door, cool places like that. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. So you can check them out, those local spots in your neighborhood that make the neighborhood feel like home. All of them are running on Square. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/lockedoncollege to learn more. But before you do, go support your local favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square. See you in the neighborhood. And this is brought to you by DoorDash. DoorDash delivers on the weekend again, just like that Michigan defense delivered with its 7 sacks here today. You can have DoorDash deliver for you and put together some streaks every time you order every Saturday. These players that we're talking about on the defense for Michigan, they always delivered. So that's what DoorDash does. Absolutely. Take advantage of them. If you order every Saturday, start putting streaks together all season. You can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. So order this Saturday, keep the streak alive, and fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. The promo is good through November 18th. Thanks for checking us out here on a live edition of Locked On Big Ten coming up. Don't forget another live broadcast later on tonight after the Illinois-Indiana game. Looking ahead already to week 5, because that's what I do. Ohio State out west to Washington. That's 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. That's on CBS. Looking forward to that. USC is at Illinois in a battle of ranked teams. That'll be on Fox. Indiana got a tough road game at Iowa. That'll be on Peacock on Saturday. UCLA, we'll see if they've been able to regroup after firing their head coach. They will take on Northwestern. That'll be on the Big Ten Network. And Rutgers is at Minnesota, 12 noon Eastern on the Big Ten Network. And then the big one, Oregon at Penn State, 7:30, 1 week from tonight, Eastern time. It is the whiteout at Penn State. We, of course, will go live immediately after that one to recap it, our immediate reaction, plus yours, and the previous games throughout the day, all across the Big Ten. That'll do it for us here. Again, many ways for you to interact with us if you're new to our podcast. Hit that subscribe button because it's free. That way, you won't miss a single episode, and you'll be part of our club each and every day. We have the latest news, analysis of that news, and opinion on that news. We are not afraid to give our opinions on the news when we talk about the teams. We are on Twitter. You can find us at Talk Big 10 or on X, number 10. We have a website, talkbig10.com, the number 10, talkbig10.com. All of our podcasts go there if you want to go back and check out one you missed about your favorite team. Plus, we have links where you can buy Big Ten school merchandise, shirts, T-shirts, hats, all that from your favorite team. Show a little school spirit. Start planning ahead for some Christmas shopping. All right. So I also want to let you know that the entire Locked On family is very proud of this for college football fans. They've grouped up with Fire TV, and they present the College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12, he leads the conversation along with two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson and former college star Jesse Holley, and all of our Locked On experts together previewing all the games. It's a college football preview only that Locked On can do. Catch the College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season only on Fire TV. All right, that'll do it for us for now. We're not going anywhere. We're going to go watch that Illinois-Indiana game, and we're going to come back and we're going to be live and talk about it here on another live edition for immediate post-game reaction. That game has huge playoff implications for both of those teams. I think the winner has the inside track for becoming the fourth Big Ten team to get a playoff spot. The other one, they're going to have some work to do, and we'll see how that plays out. This is huge. Indiana's a slight favorite. It's going to be a red out there in Bloomington under the lights. It's going to be excited. So we're going to check all that out. So we'll see you in about 3 hours. Get your comments early and ready to go for your live reaction to that game, my live reaction as well. Can't wait to see you there in just a few minutes. For Locked On Big Ten Live 1.0 before 2.0 later on today, I'm Craig Sheeman. We'll see you in a little bit.